What's up? I'm Chef Ernie, and I moved my family and my young family here over 26 years ago to the Gulf Coast and opened up my first restaurant, Cafe Nola, when Whitney was just a little bitty kid.
That's right, Dad. I grew up in restaurants with you, and I am now a luxury real estate agent here on the beautiful Emerald Coast. And this is What's Up Emerald Coast.
That's right.
And we are going to bring you all the insights of
that's
everything
right.
in our area.
That's right. And let me just tell you, this program, Whitney, we're kind of going a little bit out of our norm, guys, on this because we're doing What's Up Emerald Coast Investigates. We're doing an investigation show, and we're going to investigate the thing that's been going on around here, the shark frenzy on the Gulf Coast. Look, let's face it, guys. We've all seen the videos, Whitney. They're all over the place, and look, let me tell you guys, this is the true story. Whitney, ever since I was a little kid, that's why I moved here and brought y'all here, because my dad used to bring us out here on vacation every year, and he'd always tell us, don't swim past the second sandbar, stay in, don't swim out too far. I mean, we always knew as a kid.
They've always been here.
They've always been
here.
The Gulf of Mexico has always had sharks and always had predator fish and bigger fish, and we always know it. I mean, I grew up in the bayous, man.
Alligators.
But I got to tell you, Whitney, and you and I, this is what kind of one of the things that motivated us to do this program. Not only the victims around here and their stories, but touching our hearts, but
bring awareness.
Yeah, man. And also the fact that I've never seen anything like this ever. I mean, like, I can remember being here 26 years, right? Every year somebody shows a video of the plane flying over the sandbar, and you see 4 or 5 big sharks, and there's people swimming over here. No big deal. They don't bother nobody. You know what I mean? Why this year are they swimming up in the surf, getting up in shallow waters, and then when you see the overhead numbers, you see not 2 or 3, hundreds of them.
Yeah.
What the heck, I know. But there's something different this year. So I figure, hey, we need to investigate this. And then also, I think the public needs to be educated on what to look for, the things to do when you're in the water.
So that you can still enjoy our beautiful beaches. Nobody wants to talk about it, but here we're going to investigate. Absolutely. We're going to give you some scientific facts, and we're going to bring some awareness to all the folks visiting and vacationing in our beautiful beaches. And we're
also going to show you some solutions and other things the alternatives and deterrents for sharks that are out on the market and have been out for years, and it's going to be really interesting. So, let's sit back. You guys enjoy. We're going to take you a little ride. We're gonna go for it. You ready?
I'm ready.
Are you guys ready? Come on, let's go and let's do this thing, man. Let's face it together. Let's figure this thing out. Okay, Whitney? So what you got? What's the first thing you got for us? We're looking at some of the possible things that could have made this year so different
than the years in the past.
And, the fact that really it may never, ever be like this ever again. So tell me. What you got? What you got?
So fishermen are seeing unusually large packs of killer whales, which are predators to the sharks.
Yeah, you're right. And that's really unusual. And now, Whitney, it's funny because people have boats that can get out further than ever. So early in the season, man, I'm seeing we see all
orcas.
the videos. Look at the beautiful orcas. And I'm like, wow, look at all of them. Look like you. Like, what the
heck? But what are orcas doing so close?
Well, I mean, what the thing is there's always been orca out there, but this early in the hot water like that, in big numbers like that, unprecedented.
Yes.
Unprecedented. All the captains and the charter captains I talked to was telling me the same thing. And, if you watch these videos that we're going to show you, that look what killer whales do to sharks. They tear them up, right?
It's scary.
So, like, if I'm a shark, just common sense is going to tell you, I'm going to get the heck away from that. So, the fishermen feel that maybe the killer whale are making the shark move to feeding in different areas to avoid them. And possibly other things. All right, so what else you got? What else you got? What you got? What's the next one?
So scientists believe the early hurricane season could be the culprit for the change in shark feeding habits along the Gulf.
Oh, Whitney. Guys, let me tell you.
This is kind of crazy.
No. And I'm going to tell you, I think this information that I was able to dig up, Whitney, I think explains a lot of this year.
So do you think, Dan, that when a hurricane's coming through, it should be something to look out for?
I don't think it's proven, and I'm going to show it to you. Dr. Kelsey Banks from the Heart Institute from Texas A&M University. I found a video on the web, And check this out, Whitney. She's going to tell you exactly what they've been studying, what's going on with hurricanes as it relates to shark behavior. It's going to blow your
insane.
mind.
I just got goosebumps.
Check it out.
Sharks are affected by hurricanes. Recent research out of Florida has large coastal sharks coming in closer to the shore and feeding prior to the hurricane. They have increased feeding behavior. One of those studies also noted, it is unfortunate that we've had these encounters, but they, just like with people, sharks are trying to prep for these storms.
That's incredible, right? But
yes.
Listen to this. Not only did she tell you that about the hurricanes and sharks in Beryl especially, right? Cat 5 hurricane, first in history in that early in the Gulf of Mexico ever. And when the barometric pressure drops like that, it pulls them in, right? But listen to this. She's also got great insights and some tips that you guys might be interested in. Check it out.
Increased encounters have a couple of different things going on. The first and foremost is there's more people going to the beach in the summers, right? So you have a higher increased chance of an encounter. We've also done a great job of conserving these apex predators. And so along with other fish species, they're prey. And so as these numbers tend to go up, we get to see more and more sharks, which is a great thing for our ocean. It is unfortunate to have negative encounters, but having these sharks and these increased fish abundances are great for our oceans. It makes them healthy.
Man, Whitney,
Yes.
Come on.
I mean,
now look, now think about this.
That's good.
That now we know for a fact, it's been studied in the Gulf of Mexico now for 2 years, that when a hurricane is coming in, sharks, this is crazy, know before the meteorologists even know that it's coming.
They're literally like packing food, almost like a bear does.
Like we go to the store and get groceries and hunker down and move to a safe area. They come inshore. They start feeding frenzy. What was happening this year? What happened? And think about it, Whitney.
It was all of the things that happened along the Gulf Coast were while that was moving.
In a 4-day
oh my
period,
gosh,
seven happened, and then it's kind of faded out. So think about that too, right?
I mean, it really has. Is that the cause?
Well,
I mean, we're not saying it is, but I think it
it's
had a factor.
Tremendous. All right, so that's some incredible news, guys. All right, let's move on from there. What else you got? That's not the only possibility. What else you got, Buzz?
So conservatives believe that the efforts in past years of protecting sharks from being harvested by fisheries in the Gulf has also increased the numbers of sharks near the coast. Added with record vacation swimmers, do the math. I mean, if they're holding back the amount that they can be fished, and we've got an increased amount of them, I mean, why hold back?
I'm going to tell you right now, more sharks in the Gulf, more fish in the Gulf is a healthy Gulf.
Very.
End of story. And the issue is why are they up so close? Why are they in the surf like they've never been and not outside the sandbars feeding and all? Let's keep moving on. So we already know that. Look at the the videos. I mean, come on. There's more than ever. All right. So what else you got, Whit? What else? We know that.
Environmentalists feel record heat and lack of rain could be the biggest factor, bringing the saltwater and bait closer to shore.
Absolutely. The bottom line is that the truth of it all is that climate change, inevitability of it, is causing fish to migrate to areas in different areas and act differently than ever. So inevitability, that's something we can all do something about, global warming. And now I guess we have to try to figure out how to adjust our habits to make things better for us and better for the
We just need awareness.
environment.
People out there just need to be aware that the sharks have always been there.
Yeah.
But we need to be, aware that, you don't want to go out past second sandbars. You don't really want to be at second sandbars. You don't want sparkly jewelry. You don't want glitter floats. Those are things to consider. We've always known as locals, but I don't think tourists and things of that nature always knew these different things.
And look, I'm gonna tell you hit a good point right there. Is I don't think we've done a good enough job around here for beach safety, swimming safety,
just awareness.
What to do. Did you know what to do if you're in the water with a shark? I'm gonna tell you right now, probably what I would do, from what I'm hearing, is totally wrong thing to do.
What would you do?
So look, I'm gonna tell you, but don't hear it from me. we're gonna look. I had a chance earlier this week, Whitney, to go down to the Okaloosa Island Pier in Fort Walton. There's something amazing happening there.
What's happening?
My old buddy Shane Reynolds.
Yeah.
I call him the local shark expert. He doesn't call himself that, but he's actually a videographer, and he's traveled the world. He's been on Discovery Channel. He's done numerous programs. His own YouTube channel, Color Earth, which is incredible. Check it out, guys. And he's been so fortunate and got the permission to actually help to document the shark activity under that pier going on for the last several years.
So we've got years of history.
And listen, tiger sharks, this is interesting, and this will tell you about the climate thing we're talking about, is that tiger sharks have never been here before, or never really been documented here on a regular basis coming back until this.
Okay.
And they're big sharks. I mean, 15-footers plus. And there's, incredible thing going on. And they've been tagging these sharks, and he's telling me that the last 2 years, more keep coming back each time. They leave, and they come back with the season. So this is really interesting. Let's go check out this video, all right? You ready?
I'm ready. Let's see what he's got to say.
Check it out.
All right, guys. I'm here at the Okaloosa Island Pier. People calling it Tiger Pier right now. And I'm here with Shane Reynolds, our local shark expert from Color Earth. And Shane, man, why don't you give our viewers a little rundown on what's been happening here at the pier that's so exciting in the last few years?
Well, I mean, how much time do you got?
I got a lot. I want to hear it all.
Well, first off, I don't think I'd consider myself a shark expert.
All right.
I'm more of I'm a cinematographer, and I'm an adventure traveler, and and I've taken a big interest in the tiger shark phenomenon that's been happening here.
All right.
I think about 4 years ago, I started noticing a lot of posts, local posts about how people are just seeing tiger sharks all the time off this pier, and I was like, that's interesting. It seems like like they're not going anywhere. Like they kind of live there in the summer, and so I started looking out and like saying, how do we document? We need to document this. This is in a proper way. So I reached out to the county and established a relationship there where I could kind of go with them to help collect data from the acoustic tag receivers that they keep at the end of the pier for all the data they're collecting for tarpon, sharks, you name it. And just started going with them to help with that, but also document, get a lot of underwater video, and hopefully, the intent was to maybe identify a few of them by identifiable characteristics.
Right.
We've named a few based on some, missing parts of their fins and things like that.
So they've actually allowed you to get in the water and swim with these tiger shark right under the pier.
That was my goal. At the time, I had spent years trying to do tiger shark dives.
Right.
And like nothing coming together. And then all of a sudden it's just happening right here in my backyard.
It's crazy.
Like I live 10 minutes down the road.
And then correct me if I'm wrong, but this is really like a phenomenon, because normally tiger sharks don't just migrate in a certain area. Like you have to almost attract them to get them to you, right?
Yeah. In of any shark destination that I know about, and I've been to a bunch of them, it's a situation where you got to fly to a remote island, you got to take a boat out, you got to chum them in, you got and there's reliable places to see them. But this is this is just a tourist town, a fishing pier that you could walk out onto, like you and your family, and go look at 10 to 20. They had over 30 of them like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
Just circling around the pier. So, the fact that this popped up as over the last 4 years, it's consistently been happening. And it's at this point, definitely an aggregation of tiger sharks that happen here every summer. So we've just kind of spent every summer, recording when they arrive, when they leave, try to dive with them. I fish off the pier with a 360 camera to get more behavior without us in the
Crazy.
water.
So with the 360 camera, you can observe everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Oh,
For
wow.
sure.
That's killer.
It's not a super accurate representation of size and things like that, because it's a very, a 360 camera, even when you frame it, it's going to be a pretty warped, fisheye kind of look. So it makes a 12-foot shark look like it's 6 feet.
All right.
But it's, they'll come up and sniff it out, and,
Sure.
and just give us a lot of,
Absolutely.
we learned a lot based on just dropping.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's crazy. And then you were mentioning to me earlier a little bit that there's something unique that you think is what's attracting him here has to do with the way the bait is under this pier, right? Is that what you think it is, your theory?
The main theories, I mean, almost any kind of marine life is going to be food driven.
Right.
You know, decisions and patterns and migrations, things like that are going to be food driven. And, you know, the time of year that they come in is the time of year the tarpons come in. That very well could bring them in. But there is a bait fish, a big bait ball that lives on this pier all summer. Fishermen call them pilchards. The county calls them menhaden. I just call them bait fish. I don't want to get in the middle of it. But and I'm real bad at ID when it comes to fish. But they live here and they grow and they grow and grow and grow until, you know, some of that could be spawning. A lot of it, you know, these kind of bait fish require a ton of oxygen to survive. If you ever put any of these kind of bait fish in your live well, they're dead in 5 minutes because even if you're pumping an O2 in there, because they just they suck a little bit of the O2 out of the water and they can't sustain. So what they do is they grow, they die off, and then under the trough of the pier they collect. So it makes this like buffet line where the tiger sharks are just circling around.
So it's like the ocean's natural chum.
So it's a natural chum cycle.
That's amazing. And that doesn't happen just anywhere.
That doesn't, I'm not aware of anywhere it happens. It doesn't even happen at the
Unbelievable, guys. You hear that? Only here on Okaloosa Island Pier. Unbelievable. That's crazy. Now, you know, this is such an amazing thing. And we're seeing these tiger sharks coming back in bigger numbers. Now, you know, my question for you is what is your opinion on the increase in the shark attack activity this year, possibly? And, you know, I've done a lot of research myself. People are saying the early hurricanes and sharks are affected by barometric pressure. I never knew that. People are saying that just the conservation that we've been doing has had the numbers increase, which is actually a good thing for the oceans. What's your take on it?
Like I said, I'm not an expert.
No.
And I don't know the answers to that, but my thoughts on the matter are, you know, one, it's food driven, one, it's water temperature driven. You know, those things, you know, like last summer we had a bunch of whale sharks come through here, but it was an El Nino year and the waters up here were actually cooler than they were down in the Keys. So I think that's what was driving a lot of different marine life up here. Now, you say this increase in shark activity, like last year, I think the black tip aggregation that we have down at the West Jetty, where you'll see 200 to 300 black.
So it's always been here.
They're always there, and actually the black tip aggregation from this summer looked a bit smaller than it was last summer. So I think it's all cyclical and it changes. But I also think that in the Gulf, you know, we protect sharks. However, we don't really protect their food sources in terms of how much we're commercially
fishing. That's something nobody talks about.
And so if they're coming in closer, what that says to me is that there's not enough food for them offshore. So they're coming in closer and we're building more, you know, artificial reefs and things like that to make for easier food
so you're building
here.
Artificial reefs in closer, it's bringing in more bait.
It brings in more bait.
Which is great for our fishing industries, which is the number one in the state of Florida, which is great.
But you know, that creates a lot more.
Which is actually in general a healthy Gulf.
It shows what it does is demonstrate a healthy ecosystem.
But
when that clashes with a tourist town where there's thousands and thousands of people out in the water swimming, and some of them are going out past the second sandbar, some of them are swimming in the midst of big bait balls, where bull sharks and sandbar sharks are just darting through trying to eat. They can get caught in the crossfire, so it can be a very confusing thing for everybody.
Sure, because basically you'll agree that when someone does suffer a shark attack, it's by mistake. Sharks are not targeting humans.
In most cases.
In most cases, Most cases.
I think there's such a thing as deviant sharks. It's very rare. You know, but there have been sharks in the past that have targeted, but it's not
a regular thing. No, not a regular occurrence. It's not what's happening. No, and it's basically probably definitely your theory, I think, is right on point. You know, just sharks are in closer, the bait's in closer, so they're in feeding in closer than ever. And, you know, now that we've heard about this hurricane theory, you know, the early hurricane with the big Category 5 and the barometric pressure could have also all those things combined together. And what does that have to do with climate change, right? I mean, in the end of it all, you know, everything that we're experiencing and the changes in the habits of the animals on the earth all have to do with our climate change. And that's something we can do something about, guys. Definitely.
Yeah.
You know,
sure.
and so let me ask you a question. So now that we've talked about all these theories and how wonderful it is to have our ecosystem and the sharks here at the pier, my question is, what can our viewers, tourists, people coming to the Gulf to enjoy this beautiful area, what can they do? Because there's things that we can do to protect ourselves and also protect the sharks. Give me some insight. Give me some tips, man.
I mean, I operate on logic, you know.
Right.
I don't have many scientific answers, but from my experience, you know, obviously you start at the bottom. You say, if you're not comfortable in the water, stay out of the water. That's the easiest way to avoid a shark attack.
Right.
But if you're getting in the water, respect where you're going. That, you know, times of day are often important.
Right. So you're saying, like, people say that you shouldn't go early or late.
I mean, they say it. Yeah. I mean, I haven't done the data, but you know, if that's something that scares you, don't go at dusk.
Yes.
When things, you know, there's different bait fish activities.
So you think
shifting.
it's more important to really look, if you see a lot of bait activity in the water and activity, stay away from that. Because that's what the shark or any kind of predator is going to be attracted to.
There's days out here where it looks like a desert and there's nothing happening.
Right.
And then there's days you come out and there's birds, there's bait fish snapping, there's all kinds of life. Those days are the active days.
You need to stay in closer.
You know. Yeah. And certain specific things you can do, I think, is one, you don't wear white.
Okay.
Just because that mimics an injured fish. If you cut a fish open and it looks, you know, because they look for injured
I didn't
fish.
know that. Did you know that?
So,
I didn't know that. Don't wear white clothes when you're swimming in the surf.
Try not to wear white.
So that shines too. Something shiny is not good either.
Shiny, I guess, is not good. And then a buddy of mine in Hawaii, his tip, which actually I've seen kind of works, is the fact that, especially with like tiger sharks, you know, those
aggressive,
the ones that are smarter, these type of sharks, like if you're surfing, if you're on a raft, things like that, and you see a shark, point at it.
Wow.
Just follow it with your finger, because they know you're there. And they're looking
wow,
at you.
Look at that. Point at it, guys.
And just hold your ground. Don't kick around and splash around
so
like
you see, and let me ask you this. Now, the other thing that I've read is that the hardest thing probably ever to do is to turn and face a shark when you see it. But I hear the experts say that that's exactly what you should do. If you turn from a shark and you swim away from it, you look like prey and they're going to attack you. And that's what they say. So you got to have courage, guys. Am I right?
Yeah, and I mean, common sense too. I mean, would you rather have eyes on it to see what it's doing, or would you rather turn your back on it and not know what's going on?
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
So it's not like a bear situation where you're, you know, splashing around trying to make yourself more intimidating. It's just a matter of letting it know you're there. And in
so you're saying
cases,
exactly.
They're going to be
so
like, oh, okay,
we're
cool.
Sure, someone's natural reaction is to frantically swim and splash, but when you do that, you actually make yourself look like prey by mistake.
Yeah.
So stay calm, face it, point at it, let it know you're there, and then maybe it'll realize that, wait, that's not what I'm looking for.
Yeah. No,
Boy, that's a good tip, guys. I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, Shane, for me, if I'm in the water and that happens to me, I don't know if I could do that, but I sure know now if it does, I'll try to have the courage to do it, because that's what you got to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and you got to do it.
It's easier said than done when
Tell me
if
about
that's not something you're used to. But I grew up surfing and diving out here, so when I see one, it's a relaxing.
Right, and
situation.
I've seen you in the water with the big tiger sharks. I've seen some of your videos. It's incredible. You're gonna see some. We're playing some now, but the incredible thing is that you seem so calm, and it's. I heard you mentioning to me before too that sharks put out a certain different aura, and so do people in the water, so they can, when you're calm, they stay calm, kind of thing. Is that?
I believe that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, energy matches energy.
Right.
And if you're in their environment and you're sharing space and they know you're there, and you know, that's one of the things. Like tiger sharks, for example, they're very calculated. And
sure, and that's why they don't mind things swimming with them and hanging out with them. It's like their buddies, right?
Right.
You just want to be their buddy.
Yeah.
That's it. That's kind of hard to do.
Essentially.
Yeah, I know. When you see something like that in the water, I don't know. Guys, I don't know if I can do it, but you hear from Shane, and turn and face the shark, point at the shark. I've never heard that. That's really incredible. to think that could actually work. I'm really excited to hear that. And use those tips, guys. And Shane, I mean, I just want to tell you thank you.
Yeah, bro.
Really appreciate you spending your time. Check out Color Earth. His videos and everything Shane's doing here is so exciting. And we'll be back doing more stuff with Shane as we investigate the shark frenzy on the Gulf Coast, guys. Thanks a lot.
Wow, huh? How you like that video, Shane?
That was amazing with you and Shane. But Dad, I mean, why didn't you get under the water with
Man,
the
you
sharks?
crazy?
I wanted to see you swim.
Dude, he said stay calm in the water and face the shark. I told him you gotta be crazy, man. But you know what though, Whitney, in all seriousness aside, no kidding aside,
So you don't run.
That's the tips, man.
Don't run.
You have to. It's like just like they tell you with a pit bull. If you don't show dominance and you turn and run, they're gonna think you're prey and you're weak or you're injured, and they're gonna hit you. So your best bet is to face them and fight and fend them off. Like he said, punch him in the gills, man.
Punch him in the gills.
Punch him in the gills. Punch him
That's
in the
where
eye.
you'll really get him. So
Yeah.
surprisingly enough, we're not saying to go and attack a shark, but
That's right. And
if you are faced with one,
and
you don't run.
And Whitney, before we even move on, I forgot to tell you I had this too. Guys, I want to show you this. I have a really cool video that I found that really details some things about what not to do or what to do if confronted by a shark in the water. I think we should show this to everybody because guess what's one of the things? I always knew they said that if you had a small cut, or it's possible that females with menstrual cycle should be careful of how far they go out because sharks can definitely smell blood
in
from
the water.
far away. But you know what I never knew, and this was interesting in this? You're going to die.
What?
They say that, I know a lot of guys, they drinking the beer on the beach, and they say, oh, I'm going to go out on the beach, and they go out there and they urinate.
Oh, God.
But listen to me. This video will tell you that if you urinate in the water, it will attract sharks. Can you believe that? You didn't know that, did you? Yes, urinating in the water will attract sharks.
So
because
use the bathroom,
fish,
folks.
Guess what? Fish urinate. So when sharks smell urine, they think a fish is scared and injured or running away. Because what would I do if
That's
I saw
a fact.
If I saw a shark right in my face, what would I do? I'd probably pee myself. So.
I can't.
I'm sorry. I would though.
Oh my God.
I would, and then I turn and run, and I get eat. I'd be in trouble.
Yeah, but you
I'm
don't run.
I'm gonna listen to Shane. I'm gonna punch that sucker right in the eye and in the gill, and I'm gonna take him out. You know what I mean?
Take him out.
That's it.
Take
That's
him
it.
out.
You gotta go for it.
They're more scared of us.
All right.
Surprisingly
All right.
enough.
You know what? I think now maybe it's time. Before we move any further, because we've kind of I think really come up with the solution with the. A lot of the reasons of probably why this season was so
different than the
It
others.
probably will never be like this again. We pray.
We pray it won't, but we want to bring awareness because nobody else is.
But if it does, we'll be ready for it, and that's what I want people to be. Is
Yeah.
to be ready for it, And so, but I want to let people know that the truth is Whitney and I were just so inspired by what happened this year, seeing these shark victims right here in our backyard. Like that, and then especially Lulu, and God is with that little child. And let me tell you, it inspired my heart, and watching her progress and seeing her courage and strength, it inspired me to want to do something to get some answers. And here we go with some possible solutions, possible things. We're going to show you that can possibly save your life one day. Okay?
Yeah, and we just want people to be aware and know they've always been here, but.
That's right.
Having awareness is the biggest thing.
That's it.
Because we all enjoy our Gulf of Mexico.
Look, man,
I've got 2 girls, and we swim in it almost every day.
We go to the beach all the time, and I can't even imagine. My heart goes out if I would have to go through that kind of a tragedy. I want to anything I can do to prevent somebody else from having to deal with that. We in.
We're in. Always.
We in. We all in. So come in with us. Here we go. Let's dive in. We're gonna dive in.
Let's get some more.
Let's get it going.
So let's dive in. We have 6 amazing things to
That's right.
tell
Solutions.
you guys.
Possible solutions.
Possible solutions.
And, here's really.
We're not saying they're all.
Well, here's the thing. When we did the research, I did a lot of research through this because once you dive in, like I said, you dive in.
He is a history junkie.
I love research and diving into it, I found 6 different shark repellent technologies, some of them being implemented, some of them go back to World War II. So let's just dive in, and then we'll see where it leads us to. Let's start. Whitney, go for it. Let's go.
Okay. So the oldest repellent is smell and was actually developed by World War II by a Navy called Shark Chaser.
Yes. All right. So the Shark Chaser technology, Whitney, is crazy because what it was developed for was during World War II, a lot of sailors were ending up in the Pacific. Pilots were getting shot down in the Pacific and shark-infested waters. And so they were getting hit by sharks before they could get them and save them. So it was really something that was important to try to figure out. And, you know, at that time, fishermen always knew, and this is something that, you know, that if you smell, if sharks are very sensitive to smell, so if they smell their own death, so, you know, fishermen would catch sharks, which you can't do now, they're not supposed to, and they would gut them and throw them back in the water, that the sharks would leave, at least temporarily for a little while, which would allow them to catch without catching them, or them taking their fish. So they came up with something called the Shark Chasers, and guess what?
What?
Very interesting. Julia Childs, the famous cook baker from back in those days, was implemental in developing this Shark Chaser technology smell stuff. And what it was, isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
I know. How, you know, everybody back then was into the war ethic, but Julia Childs was implemental in developing this with the Navy in conjunction. And what it was there were pouches that were on every sailor's life vest and every vest of every pilot. And if they got into Pacific and sharks came around them, if they would rip open this pouch and pour it over them into the water, the sharks would leave them. They would get away from them because of the smell. Now, the only problem was it was temporary, and as soon as it would dissipate or wear off, if they didn't get out the water, they would get eat up.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
So, but you know what? I tell you what, if I hit the water, I sure would feel a little more confident if I had one of those, and I wish I probably had two of those. But that's where it came from. But, you know, again, that goes back to World War II. So, you know, would that be really effective right now? I don't think so. I don't think people at Santa Rosa Beach want to be pulling shark bait all over.
I don't want to smell like that.
No. But, you know, hey, it did work. So,
you know,
let's move on. Let's see that was like the oldest one. What else you got? You got another old one? What you got?
So, another one of the older deterrents are nets and drum lines. But these kill marine life that they get caught in it. So, honestly, that one's...
No, but they still use them in parts of the world.
They
Australia, and the thing about... Now, look, you can put a gill net out, and it's going to work. It's going to catch everything, and it's going to kill all the sea life. So environmentally, no, it's a no-no. And could you do it in the U.S.?
Absolutely not. We see them a lot, and when you travel, if you've ever been...
Look, man, I mean, if it came down to me, and I would be like, who's more important? But, you know, hey, you know what I'm saying? But I don't want to...
We can't make people mad, Dad.
All right. But I'm just saying, you know.
But it was a deterrent.
Work, and they have worked, and they are being implemented places, but we can't use it here. And the other bad thing about those, and I'll tell you, if you think about it in an economic way, is that any bad weather destroys them, and then you're constantly having to fix them, put them back up. Somebody's got to go clean them out. Yeah. And, you know, it's a mess. You know what I mean? Not good for the environment. Yeah. So, but it did work. So that's another one, number 2. All right, so move on. What else we got? We got? This is so interesting.
So visual repellents are another way some surfboards and boat manufacturers attempting to ward off sharks by designing on boards and hulls.
Yeah, you ever heard of that?
No.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? I know. When I was looking stuff up, it's interesting. This goes back to like native and way back in history where people used to paint designs and stuff on things in the water to deter to deter spirits of the shark or of the whales from eating. But no, think about this: is board companies. It's just like you know how a redfish has a dot on it, right?
Right.
And the dot on the redfish is actually a thing to help them protect themselves from predators, because being on its tail and hind end, if the shark or the predator would come up and try to eat them on the tail, they could get away. So if you put like an eye on the back of a board, in theory, if the shark saw that and came at the board, instead of hitting in the middle and getting you, it might go for the eye. That's the whole theory of that. But the problem with that is that you attract your sharks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, how is that helping?
I don't know. I mean, talk to surfers, talk to people who are out on the water, talk to people. Because, you know, right now, you're seeing orca attacking boats. You seen sharks attacking boats.
Yeah.
So you know what? We might have to put an eye on the bottom of our boat. We got the driveway, baby. Put a big eye on there.
I don't think that will fly.
No, I don't think so. But it is one thing
It is
that
a
people try.
repellent, so that's one of the ones.
Yeah, they
so.
put them on boards, boogie boards, sailboats, all kind of stuff. But I think that one's a no-go. What do
All
you
right.
think?
I think that one's a no-go.
No-go. All right,
No-go.
so what else we got? What's
So acoustic repellent is being tested and used by fishermen with some positive results. So acoustic, are you meaning like music?
Pretty much. Music of the whales, the killer whales. That's symphony of killer whales. That's what they're doing. In fact, seriously, and actually, Whitney, they've seen pretty good success with it. Now, the only problem with this stuff is when they got these underwater speakers, and they actually, in some countries, they've tested and used it with fishing vessels to try to keep the sharks out and the big prey out of their nets.
Okay.
But what it does is it scares the bejesus out of everything.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Like, you put that under the ground, not everything's running hard for cover. You
Right.
know what I mean? And the other thing about it is they say that it diffuses underwater. So, in calm water, it works really well. If you're in surf or you're in moving water, it's gonna dissipate the frequency of it, not be as effective. Does it work? Yes. Have people been using it? Yes. If you're in still conditions, in a diving condition, would it work? Sure. But, is it good for the environment? Absolutely not. That one's a bad one because it's going to scare the hell out of everything, traumatize, everything's running. Get the hell away.
Okay.
So, yeah, I say, what do you think? No go?
I guess a no-go.
I guess no go.
Okay.
But definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? Underwater speakers projecting the sound of killer whale feeding, which scares the hell out of all sea life, even me. So we're going to pass on that one. What else you got?
Okay, so
this is good.
Magnetic pulse technology has been out for years and used by surfers and divers
Yep.
with various wristbands, ankle bands, and
Yes.
vests with positive results.
Yes, and Whitney, I got to be 100% honest. When I went on the search for diving into this whole thing about shark repellent technology, it was really because I was aware of the bands. I mean, I've seen them before.
Right, they're called shark bands.
Right, Shark Band. It's the company, and they actually have wristbands, ankle bands, even make vests, and the technology works. They've had great success with it. I even looked at some of the trials with it, and it's interesting because the success rate in the trials numbers were pretty good, 50, 60%. And you got to think about it. When they're testing these things, they actually have a vest with a big hunk of raw fish meat in it.
Right.
And they're chumming the water to get the sharks to come, and then they're seeing if the sharks will hit it.
Right.
So you already got them in a feeding frenzy. So really and truthfully, if it was safe to use human specimens as a thing, they think that the numbers would even be better.
Okay.
But the only problem with those are if we would say, well, why doesn't everybody sell the shark bands for people to go out in the surf?
Right.
Is I think it would help if somebody was swimming or out past the sandbar. But if you're in the surf like that, what happens is in rough water or in surf conditions, the magnetic frequency is only about 2 centimeters or so away from the body.
Yeah.
So it's if a shark's coming at you, it may be too late by the time it gets to you to
ward off because of it's not
or it's going to
frequency.
diffuse. So I think that's a win. Yes.
Yeah.
Because guess what? I'm going to buy one for the kids. I mean, I think it be
50% is better
Yeah.
than nothing, I
heck
guess.
yeah, man, and
Yeah.
it works. Especially if you're swimming. So that technology has worked. So I think that's definitely something to look into, and I think we should look into it more in this area. What else you got?
Okay. So, magnetic frequency cable technology is the newest and could possibly be the most effective.
It is.
So, talk to me about this magnetic frequency
Dude,
cable.
This Whitney is the one. This is the one that takes you down the rabbit hole. This is the one that really makes you start thinking, right?
Right.
And so magnetic is, from what I'm understanding from talking to different experts I have that I'm gonna be bringing in here shortly with us, is that magnetic actually is a frequency, but basically what it is sharks have reciprocators in their lips. It's like tubes that have this gel-like substance, and they have electricity running through their body, so they use that to navigate. And there's only 4 different things in the oceans that have those. It's sharks, whales, rays, and the dolphins.
Yeah.
So, in theory, the technology would work on all those species. And what this company is working on is really, really interesting, because they actually have taken their magnetic band technology and then projected it through cable that they run along the seabed, right?
Okay.
And they tested this in an area with really known for sharks in South Africa, and you're not going to believe this.
What?
This is incredible. When I heard this is what it blew my mind. It's crazy, but out of 50 sharks they tested with this cable technology and frequency, and they basically, if you look at the diagram, we're going to show the diagrams because I'm showing you what the research that I found that showed this. You can see with the diagrams they posted about the technology, and you got to remember, this technology is so new. It's not really totally out there yet, but it's being developed. And what they're showing is they were able to take the technology, run it through the seabed, generate almost creating a frequency invisible fence under the water,
Right.
that sharks would not swim through.
No.
I'm telling you. And get this, it's proven fact that 100% success rate in the trials. 50 sharks, these were great whites and bull sharks, swam up to it, all swam away from it, would not go through. Is that incredible?
Okay, that's crazy.
I know. And so we're on to something now, right? I mean, these
Right.
people are definitely on to something that's like...
That's like revolutionary, if that could be a possibility, because that wouldn't hurt any of them.
Well...
It would just deter them from a spot or an area,
Well,
right?
and here's the thing, now the question is, number one is, how does the technology work? Okay? We know they're using frequency, they're using magnetic frequency, but the other thing would be, is it harmful to other sea life? Is it harmful to humans? Mm-hmm. And, but all the scientists in the trials are saying that it's not, and that basically what it does is, when the sharks get close to it, it confuses them, and it confuses their steering system so much that they peacefully just turn and steer and swim away from it. And then the other sea life that doesn't have those electrodes in their mouths or in their bodies just swim right through, and everything's cool.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, right?
That's
crazy.
crazy.
So that right there, guys, is revolutionary. And Whitney, now here we come to the real rabbit hole. Okay. So I'm gonna introduce you here in a second to one of my great friends, Bobby Meadows, and Bobby's a customer friend of mine. He's a war veteran for our country, one of the most brainiac guys I know. I'll just leave it at that because a lot of the stuff he's done is top secret stuff. So, but Whitney, it's a true story. I actually was here at the restaurant. He happened to be here. He's a good customer and friend of mine. And I was telling him about what I found here, right?
Right.
And this new shark frequency repellent cable.
Yeah.
And I showed him the articles and stuff. And he tells me, he says, Whitney, he says, Ernie, he says, I have a friend of mine that used to be in the Navy, and he's a scientist, engineer. He actually, the guy's name's Zach, and he actually works with the agriculture industry out of Colorado. And it just so happens that Bobby tells me that his friend has been working on some frequency technology himself that he thinks might be something that could be implemented to do what we're looking to do. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
What?
I mean, is that crazy? I know that sounds crazy, right? I mean, to think about that could happen like that, right? But, it's amazing when you put your mind and your heart into something, what could turn out, God has a plan. But anyway, so without further ado, Whitney,
Yeah.
I'm going to pull these two guys up on a Zoom call, and we're going to see you and I together, because they're telling me that they have a product that they can develop that could possibly deter sharks from swimming areas in the Gulf of Mexico, which would be revolutionary.
That would be insane.
And get this, okay,
Yeah.
is when they told me this, immediately to even think that we could even try to implement something like this, we would need somebody like Shane, right?
Right.
To test the products, because he's got access to the sharks and he's doing his thing
Research already on this.
So guess what?
What?
He's all in.
Oh my gosh.
He's all in. So we're gonna be doing some Jacques Cousteau stuff around here. But we're gonna dive in, man. I mean, so you guys ready to go? Y'all wanna meet these guys? Y'all wanna see what they up to?
Let's go.
Let's dive in down the rabbit hole, baby. Aye. Hey, Whitney, here's my boy Bobby and Zach I was telling you about. What's up, Bobby?
Hey, Bobby.
Hey, what's
So
going on,
Bobby,
Ernie?
man, feeling with. Tell them what we at.
Well, I've got a friend out in Colorado. His name's Zach Lance. I think we got him on the line here. He's going to explain a little bit about a project that he's been working on for the last couple years that might help us out with our little shark problem that we got down in the Emerald Coast here.
I would love to see this.
I can't wait. And it's so exciting. Like I said, I was telling Whitney and them in our guests that this is something that kind of came up by chance. I mean, you and I were talking, and then you mentioned Zach, and we got with Zach, and here we are. So let's introduce everybody to Zach. What's up, Zach? What you doing? Zach, my boy.
Hey, everybody, how's it going?
Say hi, Zach. There he is.
Hey, everybody, how's it going? Nice to see you guys.
Man, Zach.
Hi, Zach.
How are you, sir? You having a good day out there in Colorado, man? Or what?
Absolutely, 90 degrees today. It's blazing.
Whoa. Wow, dude. So Zach, I want you, if you could, to fill in our viewers and fill in Whitney with what you were explaining to me, because it's so high tech, I couldn't even figure it out, even try to say it myself. But it's so incredible that just kind of fill us in on what you've been doing and how you think you can implement this technology to repel sharks. It'd be crazy.
Well, it all started with my current submarine project, where I'm basically making a new style of submarine, but then it kind of spiraled into a couple more projects that are totally applicable. So the first one is the electrolocation system, to where basically how fish see underwater in murky dark water is electrolocation and sound. So I'm looking at using the changes in electrical field with their change the capacitance and inductance to see what the object is, where it's at, where it's going, if it's stationary, whatnot, and which way it's facing, even from the signal data coming back from it. And then the other one,
wow.
Oh, sorry.
So basically, you're going to be able to, with your technology, be able to recognize the species of fish and that are in the water.
Yeah, ultimately, definitely, with the 3D camera combined with the other data that we'll get from the fish, we'll be able to identify them and basically recognize them and their patterns that they create.
Wow, that's incredible.
Very
incredible. So this is my question: is so the breakthrough technology is the fact that you'll be able to recognize them, right? But the fact that we've already found out from these other folks that the frequency affects the sharks and deters them, and you can steer them out of the way or keep them from passing through. You think you'll be able to implement this technology to work that way?
I think so. I've done a good bit of research on it now, and there's a lot of correlating data points that suggest that the low frequency modulated signal can basically affect the shark's electroreceptors, and we can create essentially an electric fence for sharks.
Wow,
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing? And the cool thing is your technology would be totally wireless. You wouldn't even need a cable. You wouldn't even need wire, right?
Yep, that's what we're looking at, is basically using a antenna array system and beamforming.
A beam, like a beam of frequency, almost like a laser beam, but a beam of frequency.
Pretty much, and it just focuses on the area where the sharks are being detected at, and we send a lot of energy directly at them at a frequency that specifically affects them, but nothing else, and then basically kind of deters them out of the water in the area where they're being detected at.
Amazing, Whitney.
So amazing.
This is amazing, Zach. This is breakthrough technology. This is something that could actually, save lives and save limbs and for people. This is really, I'm in shock right now. I'm speechless. But let me ask you this question. So basically, it would be some kind of a technology where it would be a beam of frequency that could be aimed at the shark that's approaching, and it would basically steer the shark away from where you wanted it to go.
Pretty much, yeah. It's
Whoa.
not a system that needs to
George Jetson
move.
shit
It's
right there,
stationary,
baby.
and it changes the signal's direction with its phase.
You have anything that we could see?
What don't you have like the little thing? You
I
invented
do
something.
have the,
You invented something that's
I was working on
crazy.
the electro location system here. Basically, this would transmit an electrical field, and these are detectors, and I could detect, the position of my hand or a book or a piece of metal or even another fish in the water. And this is the basic
So those
concept.
are electrodes. Yeah. So you can, when you stick something in a bucket with the water, you can on the computer to generate the image.
Yeah, basically you'd see the intensity change, and you kind of see what the changes in capacitance and resistance of the water, basically how the E field changed when the object enters the E field, and then you can see what the object is. And that's kind of how fish can detect, shark, other objects, wood, metal, rocks, and other fish in the water, and can also communicate through these electrical fields.
Very
You
cool.
understand what he's saying?
Not a clue.
Guess what? He's saying we're gonna be able to talk to the fish, baby, like Dr. Doolittle.
I mean, that's what I find cool. I just heard electromagnetic, and he can keep sharks away. So
That's it.
I want to see.
That's it. So Zach, so you are willing and you're able to, you believe, possibly put together a little prototype that we could get Shane and get you guys and Bobby involved, and we could maybe get out here and test something and see if we can make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. I've actually already started working on.
Now we are diving down the rabbit hole, folks. We are gonna open it up, and guess what? We're gonna take all of our viewers and everybody along for the ride. And this is something incredible. When Zach, I really appreciate this so much. When Bobby mentioned that you were working on technology like this that could possibly help us, and I contacted you and I told you my story about how I was inspired by the young shark attack victim. I know that touched you, and look where it's leading us to. It's actually leading us to a possible solution. This is really something incredible.
It's amazing.
It really is. Bobby, I know you're on the line still. Bobby, are you willing to go out and get in the water with the sharks? Are you crazy or what?
Absolutely. Whatever it takes to get the
You're
data.
gonna get in the water with them big giant sharks?
Oh yeah.
You and Shane?
Yep.
Oh, buddy, hey, you better not pee on yourself. You might be in trouble.
It's gonna be fun. It's
Hey, Zach,
adventure.
Zach, this is crazy. Hey, look, show Whitney that submarine thing you're developing too. This is something else he's working on.
So
that really got him fooling with the
As
frequency.
in submarine,
Look at this
I've been
thing.
working on. There's the top half of it. There's the rest of it I still have to print. But basically, this is where it's all branched off from. These are the pectoral fins, and the dorsal fin will go here. Basically, this is where it all spiraled from. And then I've come up with all the other things,
Whitney,
the electrolocation,
so cool.
and the earth mode transmission.
Awesome.
And so Whitney, that's cool. That's actually going to be a drone submarine with new propulsion technology, right? And it's going to be, he's hoping, right, to go 100 miles an hour underwater faster than any fish in the water.
That's the goal.
Oh my gosh.
Woo! And then you're going to have the ability to actually even be able to bring in data from it too. That's the crazy thing. Oh, that's just amazing.
Essentially, the electrolocation will go down the body of it, and it'll have a 3D field detector, so I can use it for imaging to underwater surfaces.
Isn't that something? Man, you are just unbelievable. I can't believe that your mind works like that. Huh? Is that crazy? Hey, let me ask you another question. So just so I'm kind of clear, so what you're thinking is, and projecting, is possibly some kind of electro thing that's going to shoot a beam of frequency concentrated at one spot. So you could either do that from a buoy or from land-based, right?
Yep. Basically, you'd have a stationary
you could
set
even
of
have it
antennas,
like
and they
floating
would
on a buoy,
beamform.
and then whoa, I like that.
I like that.
I like that. I think we on to something there, my boy. What do you think, guys, folks? What do y'all think? I think we on to something, right? So look, Zach, Bobby, let's do it, man. Let's put this thing together. We're gonna put together an incredible team of people between you guys, my daughter and I, and Shane. Let's make this happen, man. Let's do it. Let's do something to make a difference. You know,
This will be a revolutionary.
Revolutionary.
If it works.
That's it. That's it. I love it.
Yeah.
Hey guys, thank you so much for your time. You know, guys, this is going to be so an incredible experience, and we're going to be able to document it all, the process of it all for our viewers. How exciting is this? But I just gotta let all y'all know, there ain't no way you get me in the water with no shark, partner. I don't care what you do. You could bring them to me, and I'll fry it up and cook it up for you.
Dad, if we test that it works, I'll get in.
Okay. If it works, I'll do it. When it works, I'll do it.
We have it on video.
That'd be
We
an
got on
excellent
video.
video to make.
That's it. Hey guys, love you guys. Have a blessed day. We'll be in touch and we'll start putting
Thanks for
everything
having us
together,
on.
okay?
Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, what an incredible program, Whitney.
Amazing.
I'm so excited. And guys, now you definitely have to tune back in to our program. We're going to be doing a monthly program now to keep you abreast of what's going on. Next program, we'll get back to more of our real estate and food like we always do. But each show, we're going to have a segment of the show to fill you in on what's going on with our Shark Frenzy investigation and our solutions.
So thanks for tuning in. Make sure you come and visit us soon and be aware.
That's it. What's up?